But it's fun producing. It's great. We have a good time doing it.
Do you think that bands that go out and hire external producers that don't, put, not, I don't want to say inferior material, but aren't doing their best work, should they be doing it on their own? Or is it just a particular skill set that you guys have or have learned to?
No, I think we're open to working with producers again. I think we just felt that we wanted to learn about that side of it ourselves. All the engineering side and the technical side, and I think because we wanted to push the band outside some of the sounds that we've become very familiar with on previous albums. So we felt like maybe doing that on our own would be the easiest way. Because often when you're working with a producer, they try and guide you towards something they want, But in the future, I'm sure we would work with a producer again. But just these last two albums, we felt like it would be good to control things ourselves for a bit.
Is there a wish list of producers? If you guys could sort of pick any producer off the tree that you would want to work with? Or go back to a producer you've worked with in the past?
I don't know, really. Who's out there? I haven't really been following what's going on out there. We've always had a great time with Rich Costi. We made 2 albums with him in the past. He's very good. There's some of these new contemporary producers that are good. Is that guy called, what's he, Sia or something? I think he's good. And so I think what's going, in the R&B pop world and hip hop and all that kind of stuff, there seems to be some really cutting edge productions going on.
Yeah, you see a lot of crossover between producer and artist where you wouldn't necessarily match those two up.
That whole thing intrigues me, like the collaborations and how collaborative the pop world is. Rock music tends to be quite isolated, in terms of, but out in the pop world, it seems to be loads more collaboration going on. So I'm intrigued by that,
Muse working with Kid Rock, and all of a sudden you put out a country album or something.
Well,
no, not
that wouldn't be.
It's not going to happen.
But nice suggestion, though. Yeah.
It's an incredible live show. The lights, the TV screens, the giant pyramid. Matt, I think I read somewhere where you said after Resistance that you guys thought you would write material that would be more suitable for a smaller venue. That was not a small venue show that I saw last night.
Yeah, that didn't happen quite yet. I mean, at some point, I feel like we should go back to a more organic stripped-back sound, kind of how we began. The kind of music we're into now is so different that I think if we did go back to a more stripped-down style, it would naturally be very different to what we did in the beginning. But we still haven't really got round to doing that. I'm still finding a lot of fun exploring, orchestral music and electronic music. But at some point, I'm sure we will go back to a more stripped down sound at some point. But
so
I'm
there's
sure
no
when.
club
Maybe
tour.
The next album.
There's no club tour in the near future for
Well,
Muse.
I mean, you never know. We did a little gig in London in this lovely venue called the Shepherd's Bush Empire, which was we did like a thing there, charity gig, and we had a great time. It was nice to be in, literally touching distance to everyone, and you could hear what everyone was saying, and it just felt like a really intimate thing. So next time we tour, I would love to do what Prince did. Prince used to come around, didn't he, and do like a big arena gig, and then that night or the next day he'd play a little club somewhere or pub or something.
Right.
I think that's a nice way. So you actually spend more than 2 or 3 days in a city. That might be a nice way to mix up touring for us, I think.
Get a different feel for the audience too, I would imagine.
Yeah, totally. And the kind of songs that shine out in those little gigs are completely different. So you get to play other songs that you probably wouldn't fit into like the arena show. Yeah.
Does the stripped down show that you talk about, is that more suited toward your festival shows? Or, I mean, I'm assuming if it's an afternoon festival, you can't have the light show that we saw last night here. Or is that how you ensure you guys close out every festival at night?
We normally choose to play at night in festivals, yeah, but the club show that Matt was talking about, it was really great because we hadn't played a venue of that size before, and it was just nice to play a venue without a massive upside-down pyramid floating around above our heads, and loads of lasers and, gas explosions and things. So it was just felt, there was just a different kind of connection with the audience. I think it's much more just about the music and us playing rather than, big visual effects.
Another question that I got from a listener, one of the popular things that bands seem to be doing is anniversary tours for particular albums. Peter Gabriel was just in town on an anniversary tour. And the listener asked if you guys thought about doing a 10th anniversary tour for Absolution, or is that too soon? Do you have too many other things you want to do before that? Or?
We did a gig like that in 2011, which was 10 years from when we did our second album, Origin. We played that whole album and stuff. But next year, I think it would have been...
I think officially it's 2013.
Next year will be 20 years since we first played for the first concert that we played together. the three of us, when we were like 14 years old. And no, we were 16. No, how old are we now?
Not as old as you're suggesting we are.
No, what were we, 15? I've forgotten. Anyway, but all I know is next year will be 20 years since the first concert we played. So we might do something next year, but I'm not sure what though. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good to do something special for that anniversary, I think.
Right. A question about your set list. A few of us after the show last night talked about this. Of course, the internet set list fans are online following the set lists, writing up the set lists, trying to predict what you guys are going to play next and songs that are, will or won't make it into that particular show. I think you guys might know where I'm going with this, but actually, I can't even make this stuff up. This question came from a Buddhist nun and her husband, who is a Buddhist monk. They converted after they had their daughter. They've been listening to the show, rock and roll station here in Montreal, for like 2 weeks trying to win tickets to the show. And they wanted to know about animals.
Oh, yeah.
Because according to the set list, it was looking like every fifth show it would have made it into the set list.
When we started out, when you start out on a tour, normally you're playing a lot of the new album. So we started this album. We were playing almost the entire album, which is quite unusual. I remember the last album we went out on tour, and there was only really about 4 or 5 songs that really worked well live, and we only played those. But this one we played a lot. The Animals was on it. We were playing at every gig for the first 3 or 4 months, weren't we? I'm not sure what happened. I think somewhere in the American tour we just swapped it out for something else and just forgot to put it back in again. But I think that song's definitely going to come back for sure. Maybe we'll play it tomorrow if we remember in Quebec.
Well.